This country been run by a brother goats. The greediest of all time. They have all of self and none of the mentality. The chorus is bunch of pigs and goats running this desk day. And the latest deception and betrayal is really cause for alarm. They're the greediest of all time. It is plain to see the true gang and give a damn about you and me. Even big supporters crying foul and shame at all these comrades dirtying the Labour Party name. Don't business about that as long as they pocket fat. Too bad who don't agree. The goat them say it's all about me. That's the chorus. Who is the nanny gate liar? Who don't spin doctor? Men, whose sole agenda is to make themselves richer and the poor are them. They say I know that I greedy, but I beg you don't watch me stop being hateful. Instead just be grateful. All the good them say it's all about me. That's the slogan. The big salary increase is just the latest injustice to be imposed on the people by these blundering misfits. They're selfish and greedy with no love for the needy. Cabalicious and runways make the thing ain't got no taste. Disrespectful and pompous, arrogant and self-righteous. These goats too brave and bold, ain't got no heart, no soul. They fed on their own nest, we not a care for the rest. They say it's all about me. That's the goat, them mantra. Who want the whole hog treating poor people like dog men? Who keep flying high in style, leaving our sons here to die? Men. Who take the pepper, the pop and kill off the beast? Men. Enough talking about lift and elevate, just words and promises but no relief. Who lacking empathy, compassion, humility, Who think that shame, lame, rename is a sustainable strategy? Here they got them men. But woe be unto these gumps and vampires. Fake Ecclesiastes 5 verse 10 says, whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. Firstly, a grievous evil under the sun. Wealth brought it to the harm of its owners. Lost to misfortune so that their children have nothing to inherit. So let them carry on, God don't like ugly. Who playing, who fooling, who since June 2022, men. Who do the big bet and switch, dividing the poor and the rich, men. Who raking in bigly while so many going hungry, Who are disgrace of the high blood sucking parasite, a bunch of termites, headed more them, We love to serve our country that God has blessed so well. In peace and love and happiness, we will forever dwell. We ask for God's protection and guidance on our way. The People's Action Movement will strive from day to day. The People's Action Movement is here and here to stay.
Hello everyone, greetings. This is episode 9 of Perspectives, a television and social media series that is brought to you by the People's Action Movement, a formidable opposition party here in St. Kitts and Nevis. This evening, we are going to bring you some highlights of convention, but specifically, we want to introduce to you formally our new political leader. I nearly said the honorable. Our new political leader, Mrs. Natasha Shani Gray Brooks, and our new chairman, Sheldon Pemberton. Now, you know, we are coming off of a high for Convention 58. It really was historic. It was indeed a watershed moment because, of course, there was a changing of the guard, and not only was the guard changed, but the guard was changed from a male to a female. And so there's a lot of expectation, there's high anticipation, and suddenly PAM is alive and people are looking at us again. And so we brought those two key people from our executive here this today to talk about some of the things that we could expect going forward in PAM. There's a lot of excitement in the air. So you know what? Gather around your friends, your neighbors, call everybody, sit in the same room and have supper, because we are going to share lots of information today that would excite you and would bring you closer to PAM. And if you're not PAM, after tonight you will become a PAM. So gather around and listen, and welcome again to Perspectives. This is episode number 9. And so with that said, I want to formally introduce you to our political leader. I know you've seen her around, you've heard her, and you want to hear what is she going to do so differently to the party this time, what it is she's going to do to draw people in and excite them. And I don't want anybody to say it for her. We brought her so she could tell you herself, as well as the chairman. So I'm going to allow them each a minute just to give, their own little welcome, and then we are going to dive right in to the plans and the programs that are going to be their legacy when they start to roll them out come next week or maybe tomorrow. So over to our political leader, Mrs. Shani Gray Brooks.
Good evening, Laverne. I want to thank you for having me here this evening. It is an honor and privilege to be here as the first female political leader of the People's Action Movement and the first female political leader of a political party in St. Kitts. I am indeed honored and privileged, and what better party than PAM? And so I know that tonight we are not here for a long time, but I'm going to try as much to give persons information in relation to my vision for the party, my vision for the country, and encourage them to be a part of this movement. This movement is something that ought not to be missed out on, because the People's Action Movement is the party for the people, the party that puts people first. And being a party that puts people first, it's glad to be part of the firsts, because PAM is a party of many firsts.
Absolutely. In fact, somebody said to me that, Shani's standing on the shoulders of people like Dame Constance and Mary Charles George and so many other strong female powerhouses that have graced this party before. So there's high expectation, but people know that we're strong PAM women around here. So don't worry.
Very much so.
Sheldon, don't feel too...
Not at all, not at all. Well, he did say he's the thorn between the rose tonight, so...
That is true.
But he's a good-looking thorn. So, Mr. Chairman, if I may so address you, tell us a little bit about yourself. What, and then we are going to don't give away anything at this stage. Just tell the people what you are, who you are, a little bit of your background and all of that. Of course, tell them that you are a young Pamite.
Well, my name is Sheldon Pemberton, and I have been in banking for probably too long. I have a banking career of about 35 years. I'm passionate about people development, and helping people grow. I'm actively involved in basketball, both in Canada and now in St. Kitts, where I am the assistant coach of the national basketball team. I was a past president of the Young Pamites. As I was telling my executive a couple of nights ago, that it was indeed an honor to come full circle, that now I am the chairman, and about 35 years ago, I was the president of the Young Pamites, and we worked really, really hard with a lot of existing members to grow Young Pamites to about 200 in the late 80s. And I'm convinced and confident that the People's Action Movement will grow from strength to strength, and we will be the once dominant party. We will become the dominant party of the People's Action Movement in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Well, thank you. I'm sure you inspired somebody there to join Young Pamites, knowing that there's a possibility that they could become chairman of the party. And it is a good segue because I know people have been asking, suddenly people are paying attention. And people have been asking, well, what is the difference between the chairman and the political leader in the hierarchy of the executive? So I want you to tell us what specifically is your role as chairman. And then I'll let Shani tell me, answer the same question in terms of political leader.
Well, as chairman of the People's Action Movement, my role and my focus will be on the restructuring of the party, the administrative aspect of the party, the building of the party from the ground up, from the constituency level up, that I think is very, very important. It's important that we engage our constituents. It's about the running of an organization in a professional manner, where we entertain and have an understanding of the issues that are affecting our people. We also have to find ways and means of engaging these people, because in today's world, it's not very easy. And I know it's going to be challenging, but I have a strong group around me who are going to help me to become more aware of what is necessary to grow this party from the ground up. We also have, in terms of financing of the party, like in politics, it is required that we have funding. And so I'll be working really, really hard to build the party in terms of our donors. So a lot of you who are out there, we will be coming to you to ask you for assistance, because it's about purpose. It's about having a purpose of moving this country forward. But from an administrative standpoint, it's really, really important that we have the necessary framework based not only at the national level, but very much so at the constituency level, because that's really where it's at. We have to do a better job at becoming more involved with the lives of our people at the constituency level. So I expect that I will be more involved in the constituencies, finding out more about their challenges and how we can help them. And in conjunction, of course, with my political leader, Shani, we will definitely be working together in a cooperative manner in order to bring a better quality of life to the individuals here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Thank you for that quite an expansive answer. And in fact, yours is an expansive portfolio as a chairman of a political party. You're probably the second most important person in terms of the overall hierarchy of the executive. And so it is not a seat that would sit quiet, because literally you're in the hot seat.
Very much so.
And so I'll ask the same question of Shani. What does your role require as political leader?
Well, as political leader, my role is to ensure that the party puts the interests of the public first. Now, that can be done at different levels. So we first look at ensuring that the issues are addressed. Whilst Mr. Chair would be dealing with the administrative arm of the party, my goal is to ensure that the public interest is looked after. And so that trickles down to the constituencies. I would be heavily involved in going through all the constituencies. My goal is that within the next 2 months, I would have made some visit to each constituency in St. Kitts, whereby I can engage them and look at the issues that are affecting them. Because we are not just, as the People's Action Movement, trying to be a strong opposition. We are trying to get into government. And getting into government is ensuring that you're in tune with what the people are facing. And so we not only meeting the different constituencies, we'll be looking at candidates. And as the political leader, although it's a process that we have to go through, I would want to ensure that the People's Action Movement would have the right candidates that would meet the needs of the people, that will be agitating on behalf of the people. And so when we've heard those issues throughout the constituencies, we don't just sit there. I would ensure that the party goes out and picket if we have to, demonstrate where necessary, take to the radio, take to the streets, because this government has placed our people in a situation where they feel as if they don't have any answers. And we want to provide those answers, those solutions to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And I will ensure that I make sure that I saturate the communities and make sure that the People's Action Movement continue to argue, continue to pound the issues, because we don't want a situation where persons say, oh, well, Shani ain't making any difference. Pam's still doing this. Pam's still doing that. At the end of this all, the people are going to be at the forefront, and coming out of the next general elections, Pam will increase their seat count under my watch. Pam will increase their seat counts.
Well, thank you, Madam Political Leader. Now, you know what? The thing about these conversations that they're recorded, and so, you know, people will remember. People will remember. But I made an interesting note of one of the things that you just said about the fact that if it is required for the party to picket whatever is required, because therein lies, I guess, a lot of what people tend to say the weakness of an opposition. Now, clearly, we don't have the treasury behind us like a government. So, and a lot of the things that sometimes is required of an opposition requires money. And so I'm glad that Sheldon just made the clarion call to donors. And I hope that when people look at the quality, the professionalism, and the qualifications that the executive have brought to the table, that people now see a group of people who are ready to lead and in whom, some degree of confidence can be reposed. So I think you have put on alert all of us to be ready to stand behind the party to do whatever is required. So if I were to take that as you telling me what your job description is, I want you now to tell me what are some of the priority issues that you will deal with in the next, let's say, 90 days. And so, Mr. Chairman, I want to start off that question with you.
You know, as I did indicate, that it's really, really important that we build from the bottom up. So I've indicated that in the next 90 to 100 days, as our political leader indicated, we would have visited all 8 constituencies within the next 90 days. Secondly, we intend on having an aggressive outreach at all levels within the constituency. So we would also like to enhance the youth arm of the People's Action Movement and the women's group in all the constituencies, because it's very, really important that we have an integration and a collaborative approach to building this party. Data mining is very, very important, and I guess with my banking background, it's just so important that we have an understanding of who our people are, where they are. And so I've embarked on an aggressive campaign for us to collect the information regarding our constituents, know where they are, and also have an idea of how we can reach them. And so at our convention, as we indicated, we did a pretty good job in trying to collect as many names as possible of people who are in attendance. And as of such, we have created a QR code that has enabled us to collect that data. And I can also say, with a certain degree of confidence and pride, that within the next 120 days, the People's Action Movement will also have an app that will help us do a better job in communicating with people throughout the country. We will also embark upon a diaspora arm, the setting up of a diaspora arm that I think is really, really important. we have to do a better job of gathering as many of our talented people, whether they are in St. Kitts or they're abroad. You know, I've lived abroad for over 30 years, and I know what it's like. And so I think it's important that we bring the new, the old, the people who have the ability with experience from overseas, the ones who have the local dynamics, bring it all together. Because if we are to develop this country and we are to move forward in a country, we have to have as many of our talented people working in a collaborative manner to move this country forward. And we cannot wait until we get into government within the next 18 to 24 months to start the ball rolling. We have to start now. And in doing so now, we are preparing ourselves as a party to govern within the next 18 to 24 months. Because it's really, really important, as we have said, and I've said numerous times, the way we run a political party is the way we run government. And as the chairman of the People's Action Movement, I am committed to transforming and renewing this party in a manner that will help us to advance the causes, the dreams, the aspirations of people who are 12 years old and people who are maybe retired, because they're retirees who have a lot to offer. And so we are spanning the spectrum of our talents who are going to work together with us and with the leadership of our political leader, Ms. Natasha Shani Brooks. So many names. To move and advance the causes of our people and our aspirations so that we can better the quality of lives. We are about the bettering of the quality of lives of people within St. Kitts and Nevis, irrespective of whether we're in government or we're in opposition.
Sounds like you'll have a very busy year. And we should just, I guess one of the reasons for having this conversation as well is to provide information to people who have interest in our party. Because believe you me, interest has peaked. If there was a way to measure interest over the recent weeks and months, I would say it has gone to the roof. Because people are now peeping inside PAM and saying, oh, they're getting organized, they look better now, and, so, and we have to deliver. So it sounds like you're going to have a very busy year, but we should also let our listeners know that you and I only have a year in office as office holders.
That's correct.
Whereas our political leader has a little bit more grace period. She has
That's
3
correct.
years. So I'm saying all of this to say that it is a lot of things. I mean, I am sitting here and getting excited already because I know that you are a man of business, and I could see us out in the street, doing work, knocking on doors and selling on the tents, doing whatever is required for the next 12 months.
Yes, as I indicated that I have no intentions of being outworked.
You did say that. And I like that expression.
My reputation is known. You cannot outwork me. And with that work ethic, I know that the People's Action Movement, with my team, we will advance. And maybe this is a good time for me to even say, if you wish to reach the People's Action Movement, you can also reach me as chairman at pamchairman@gmail.com. So if you have any questions, any concerns, and you would like to connect with me, you can reach me at pamchairman@gmail.com. I look forward to hearing from you, and I will gladly entertain your concerns, and I will return your emails. Just give me some time, because you can imagine now I've given out that email address. I can imagine how it will become inundated, but I'm convinced and I'm very passionate about bringing the People's Action Movement executive to the people at the constituency level. And we can only do so by being proactively engaging our people and meeting them where they're at. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We have to meet them where they're at and have an understanding of where they wish to go. Mm-hmm. And in understanding where they're at and where they wish to go, that is how I know, with the guidance of a political leader, we will be creating a strategy that will help to engage our people, to move them along in them accomplishing their dreams and goals.
Sounds good. Sounds good to me. I am excited already. On your mark, get set, let's go. So, Madam Political Leader, the same question for you. I mean, you have a little bit more grace speed, as I say, because
Yes.
in the first instance, you know, you have 3 years. But so what are the priorities for you in the next 90 days?
Well, in the next 90 days, in conjunction with what the chairman has said, organization of all the constituencies from 1 straight through to 8. And I don't say that in terms of just setting up an area where they can meet and say, okay, constituency 1, constituency 4, you know, they meet at this particular area every Monday or whatever the case may be. If that is what persons are thinking, think again, because I want to see my constituency out there campaigning, doing the necessary canvassing, gathering the information so that when we do the data collection, we know that we are gathering information of those that we have already knocked. In addition to that, I will be doing, as a political leader, some listening tours, because too often we do things as a people without listening to others, and we may not be necessarily creating the solutions that they desire. But if we listen, remember our theme for convention, or your voice. If we listen and listen carefully and attentively, will we be able to stay in tune with our people. And sometimes we go about doing certain things, but when we get inside information in terms of why didn't our voters come out on election day in 2022? Why are persons suffering now? Why do some persons have to work 2 and 3 jobs? What is happening within the economy? Let us listen to our people, and we have to find different ways and means of doing that. So, in addition to our listening tours, as the political leader, I will be organizing myself to at least appear on different radio stations so persons can tune in with the leader. Now, I know we have, as a party, we have press conferences, we have different persons on the panel. That is okay. We will continue them. And Madam PRO, we may have to increase them. We may have to increase them. So we really have to look at the donations because these things cost money. So increase media, increase our visibility in the media through a talk shows with the leader, increase our press conferences, do the listening tours, organizing the constituencies. And I know some time back we discussed the issue of having a youth convention. I would want to see that happen in the latter part of 2024, because we often say the youths are our future, and we have to engage them. We have to meet them at the point of their needs. And we have to find different areas of doing that. Sometimes, you know, you go to the parties convention, you will see the stalwarts, you will see persons who are familiar faces around the events, but we want more of our youths involved. And it may take a different shape or form to our general annual convention, but we have to meet our youth. Now, not because I'm a woman, I am going to be saying, okay, we have to meet our women. But the reality is, the women are the backbone of our party. And we have to ensure that we look at who are in the position to help the party move from point A to point B. And then we will do the necessary recruitment, whether it is younger males, younger females, but we're going to use the women. We're going to make sure the arms of the party throughout the constituency have functioning women group. And with the strength of our women, we know anything is possible. And so when you hear us coming out, don't shy away. We want to hear from you. We will be coming through not just to organize our constituencies. We want to hear from the people so that when I address the nation on different media outlets, I can be pounding the issues on behalf of the people. I'm not going to say like Mr. Chairman that I will not be overworked, but I am in it to win it, and I'm tightening my boots, I'm tightening my belt, because this is something that we have to go all out. The nation needs us at this point, and we have to give it our best shot.
I'm hearing public engagement, media engagement. So I am to assume that people would say, Pam again, them again, they're knocking again, they're passing through halfway through again, they're going in Conyers again, and perhaps if we give ourselves time, like you said, Madam Political Leader, to understand, the heartstring issues of our people, then we're in a better position to cater to help them. And I could see those things kind of shaping our manifesto, because like the chairman just said, nobody wants to be in opposition all the days of life. You're in opposition with a plan to head into government. And I am liking what I'm hearing about the public engagement. Whatever it takes, I'm ready. I'm free, single, and disengaged. So I don't have to ask for permission to go anywhere and do anything. So I'm ready to do the work. And, I want this to become contagious across not just constituencies, because a constituency is a group, but across our members, friends, and supporters of this party. I know that people have been longing to see, a more nimble party, a party that people can relate to. And I'm glad that even when you look at the composition of the current executive, it's a good mix of youth and experience. And so I think that we are onto something good. Now, as you were speaking about, the current realities, what if tomorrow we wake up and we hear there's an election in 4 months, in 3 months? Can PAM really mobilize and get itself ready to win an election in that time? And we never know. And I think the mistake we can't afford to make is because we're in opposition, say, well, we're in opposition. It's 5 years, nobody knows. So I want to ask us if by all of the things that you just said that, you're planning, all of the plans that you put you just share on the table with us, do you think that would make you ready if an election was imminent in the next 5 months? Any one of you?
Well, in conjunction with what Mr. Chair said, I think that we will be well on our way. We are aware that a number of issues are facing our people right now. The crime situation, the health situation, the economy. Right now you're hearing all kind of different things about former ministers of government being in cases involved with the very revenue stream that we use to help our people. And so our nation seems to be at risk. That is one thing. Being at risk is one thing, but you have to look to somebody who can help you and pull you out of the struggles that you are facing. And we are about ensuring that we put the necessary things in place to help our people. Now, organizing the different constituencies, it gets our supporters and our members active and ready for fighting, active and ready for an election. Talking to our people, we get to know our issues. And as you rightly said, that helps us to craft our manifesto. We are now able to show persons the sunlight, show persons how we are going to help and save this nation. And so even though 5 months may seem short, I say we are going to put things in place. Amongst us, we have persons who have experience in training our agents, getting them in line and ready for election day. We have a number of persons who are interested in being candidates. And so we have a pool that we are going to be choosing from when the time is right. So I think the People's Action Movement is well on its way. And in addition to that, we will be putting or tapping into the necessary networks to engage persons, to show that we are an attractive party and you can finance this party and help this party to help the nation.
Yeah. That's what it's all about.
I think that's really, really important. One of the things I've said a few times is that, as a party, we're not really too short on policy and plans and programs. That has been the strength of the People's Action Movement for many, many, many years. However, I think it's time for us now to up our game, and our game is to become more involved. I can say that, shortly after becoming chairman, I'm already getting calls at 5:30 in the morning. People are engaged, asking me about how they can help. And this is what my plans are, in addition to a lot of other executive members, that we need to go to the constituencies themselves, have an understanding of what they can do to help mobilize our people. We cannot mobilize our people in strategy. And I say a lot of the times that the secret sauce in plans is about execution. And so I'm very, very passionate about executing our plan to a high level of degree of engagement and understanding. People need to have an understanding of what is your strategic play. And so our executive has gone back on some training initiatives, which we'll undergo over the next couple of months. I have created about 9 subcommittees that will be ratified in the next couple of weeks. And these 9 committees span a wide spectrum of activities within the organization, such as membership drive, the youth arm, the women's movement, the building of every single constituency. It's about financing. It's about also, as an organization, about reaching out to people. So we're not just about growing our organization. We have to do a better job of having an understanding of the people who have supported us for many years. We talk about coming back home, but we need to go to you to find out from you where we might have misstepped. And it's so important that we have an understanding of where you're at. How can we help you? This is about like forgiveness. It's like reconciliation. It's like we're in a relationship, and sometimes things don't always go right. Mm-hmm. And so now we're coming to our people with a certain level of atonement. We have to humble ourselves so that people have an understanding that we truly care about them. And in spite of some missteps that might have happened, we are now focused on the people who have worked and helped us tirelessly to get where we are. Charity begins at home. Mm-hmm. And under my leadership and the leadership of my political leader, we will do a better job to make sure that we take care of our own people, while at the same time making it attractive for those to welcome them into the fold. Because if you don't think that I'm going to be made happy, then people are not going to be happy or willing to join. Mm-hmm. So it's about leading by example. Mm-hmm. They see us as a caring party. They see you as a caring political leader. They see you as a caring candidate. They see you just as a caring PAM person. All these little things matter when it comes to us growing our brand, growing who we are. We are about advancing people's growth and their aspirations. We want to grow with our people. We have to feel that growth. It's not tiered, where I'm here and they're there. It's about us all working together on a common good. And that common good is about building this country so that it is a first-class, model state economy. We have been the number one in the Caribbean for many, many years.
And it's been a long time since we've been number one in anything.
I'm tired of hearing us be number one. It's now us to move up to the next level. And I'm not happy with being the number one in the Caribbean. I foresee that St. Kitts will be a model small island state within the Western Hemisphere, where people will be coming to St. Kitts and Nevis under the People's Action Movement, coming to us, finding out from us, how did we do it? We are going to lead by example, and no more this apathetic and responsive way of governing. We will be governing in a proactive manner with solutions and strategies for the future of this country.
Well said, Mr. Chairman. If I were a news writer, I will get a soundbite from that. But seriously though, and again, all of these things that we're talking about can't happen by osmosis. Yes. And so I believe we are going to have to, reach out to the diaspora, as you just mentioned. So I want to ask our political leader, how important in the scheme of things is having a strong diaspora? How important, I've heard people say that, they don't remember us in the diaspora, only when they want something, but we can't give them no advice. So in all of these plans, and both of you mentioned the importance of, engaging the diaspora. How are we going to reach them, and what are our immediate plans to have them be part of this engagement process that you have both been speaking about?
Well, a number of persons have already committed to being part of the movement. Continuing to engage persons is one thing, but sometimes we have to take that extra step and meet them where they are. Mm-hmm. So we are going to actively engage them. It's not so much about calling one person here, calling two persons there to say, what do you think about that? Yes, we appreciate their expertise, we appreciate their knowledge, and of course, if they have donations, we appreciate them. But our people are our greatest assets, and we ought to put ourselves in our position to hear more from them, to show them that they are a part of us. And with the necessary support, I think we will be journeying to the diaspora, different areas, so that we can engage our people and see how they can be a part of saving St. Kitts and Nevis. They are very important to us. And I know that is something that we have not done as often as we ought to. Sometimes we've done it through a number of Zoom meetings and so forth, but I think we need to do a tour. We may not, I don't know in terms of the election date, when that is, but we're going to see how often and how many areas we can touch in the diaspora to hear from our persons. Now, you know that people say during election times, we may win an election on the ground, but sometimes when the planes come, it's a different story. Now, I don't want a situation where we just think of our people as coming in to vote. They are more important than that. They are more important than that. And we need to see how best we can use them and utilize them, because they have solutions. They have some of the answers that we desperately need. Sometimes we reach out, and I see the government does that from time to time, reach out to persons who are not Kittitians and Nevisians, whilst we have our people who are skilled, trained, who have the necessary experience, who can provide the answers. Let us tap into our people. Our people are our greatest resource. I cannot overstate that. And under my watch, I will be putting a plan in place to make sure we touch and ensure that we engage our diaspora, so that we know that it's not just the Kittitians and the Nevisians who reside here, but those who are out there, who are concerned about our nation and who want to see the best for our people. So, Mr. Chair, I know that you've lived abroad for 35 years. I'm going to tap into all the necessary skills that you have and the networking, because we are going to put a plan in place very shortly. And I want to know that when we're doing that, we touch each and every one.
Well, I can say that, Madam Political Leader, you would have my support. It's kind of very refreshing that we've only been ratified not too long ago, and we have already met, I think, about 4 times, And that's I think a very good indication that we're very serious about our commitment to the constituents and by extension the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. I think they're going to be proud when we look back from a year from now, because as the PRO said, we only have 12 months, but you have the luxury of 36 months. So
well, who knows? Your work would speak for itself.
I would have to speed up the process. But on a serious note, I'm really, really happy that we can work together to build this great party. We've gone through some trying moments, but the phoenix always rises from the ashes. And so I can tell our people that we can hold fast, because the People as Action Movement will be the next government in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Again, you're being recorded. So you'll have to put your shoulder to the wheel, as the saying goes, to make, and all of us, not just you alone, but Mr. Chair, because you say it, you have to make it come to pass. So you like to talk about speaking prophetically. So I like prophetic speakers and speeches.
We put it into the atmosphere.
Put it in the atmosphere. Not to belabor the point about the diaspora, but I know in certain jurisdictions I've heard that governments have created a diaspora affairs ministry, so that they are a touch point, they are a constant touch point whilst the government is in office. And like you said, Madam Political Leader, it's not that we want them for their donations and then when that is done, we don't remember them. And I really want us to consider going forward, how we can tap into all that they can bring to the table. Their experience, their advice, their professionalism, whatever it is, they have gained from living in North America and in the wider diaspora, and how it is that we can use them and use that knowledge to help us in government. I really like the sound of that. Now, to come back home, since they say all politics is local, I know you mentioned in passing, Madam Political Leader, that we are still at a state in St. Kitts and Nevis where it is very concerning, the crime situation. There's still a lot of discontent in the quality of health care and all of the happenings at the hospital and all of that. Now, I suspect that when we go out to meet the constituents and to meet people in general, these would be some of the things that would be faced with. And so I think it is imperative that we also, since we are really the alternate government, to begin to put those kind of plans in place. I mean, really, we really need to have to develop in the coming months. I mean, I am not taking away anything from what either one of you have said, but I really think we need to develop in the coming months some short-term, quick wins that can happen in those two spaces, because something is not right, and we have to get it right. We really have to get it right where those two things are concerned. And I would imagine that when we begin to go out in the public, people are going to say, look, right now, this is what my immediate concern is. How are you going to be able to fix it? So we need to begin to buckle down, as the chairman said, with some strategies that would address those burning issues that are now current. The fact that, people seem to be concerned about the cost of living. And so, any time we put ourselves out there, these are the burning issues that I could imagine people are going to throw at us. And so we need to prepare to have answers for them. I don't know if there's anything that comes to mind, or if while you were contemplating some of these conversations in advance, that you have any preemptive answers that you will give people who ask about those three issues: the crime issue, the issue of the health care, and the issue of the cost of living.
Now, I think we had a murder recently this week, and I extend sincere condolences to the family members of the deceased person. It's quite heart-wrenching when you open your phone, you turn on the television, and you hear murder number this, murder number that. Our family members have too many things to deal with at that point. They're struck with grief. They have to deal with the consequences, having to deal with a burial, having to deal with the fact that their loved one is not there. And it is putting a strain on our nation. The police have to deal with fighting crime with limited resources. And I think we need to ensure that although we are not in government, we need to agitate on behalf of the police. Because you hear their cries from time to time in terms of not having the necessary resources, not having a vehicle, not having, in terms of having to work double shifts because something is not happening. And we need to make sure that our police officers know that we support them. We support them and we want them to provide the best support for our people and to protect our people. How often do we hear about neighborhood patrols? Sometimes this happens when there's a murder, so you see the police going out. But there must be a proper mechanism in place whereby the high command puts something in place so that our different neighborhoods, our communities, they feel safe. We want to make sure that when you see a camera in a dark area, it's actually working. Provide the necessary budgetary support so when persons go in the house in December and say this and say that, they make sure they're doing it to ensure that they protect the people. So once you're stacking up a ministry with a particular amount of money, but make sure it hits where it matters. Our people need to know that they feel secure, a sense of security. And it affects our tourism products if persons are afraid to come to St. Kitts and Nevis because there's too much crime. I mean, you look and you listen and you hear about daring robberies in the daytime. Yes, our police are trying, but we need to ensure that there has to be a mechanism in place to help to curb the crime. Now, you spoke about the economy. Laverne, I mean, some months back, I did a little video in a supermarket with, I think it was $250 based on someone who was working for minimum wage. It's crazy. It is crazy. You go to the supermarket today and you see something for $6.50. By the time you go back next week, it's $11. The prices keep climbing, not by cents, dollars. Yes, there has been a move to increase the minimum wage. But how many of those persons, the $70 I think it was, the $70, how better off are they? Somebody who's working for $4.35 I think, and they have 2 children, and they have to look at their rent for $700 maybe. They have to ensure that there is something substantial for their children to eat. Too many mothers have to be running from here to there, trying to help their children with school supplies, trying to ensure that meals are on the table. The very basic needs should not be a problem for our mothers. It should not be a problem. And the government is supposed to ensure that there are social safety nets to protect vulnerable individuals. Yes, we don't want our society to be a dependent society on government, but look out for those who are less fortunate, those who are vulnerable, our single parents, our elderly. And, you know, sometimes we think that people live beyond their means. But the reality is, when we look at what is happening in the economy today, sometimes we have to wonder, did we go on pause from August 2022? What is happening? I mean, I'm an attorney at law by profession. I do a bit of debt collection here, there, and everywhere. But persons are not coming in. And it is, and they explain it. They say, Miss Gray, I really don't have it. I had to buy a pack of pamper for my daughter. The teacher at the school said if she doesn't pay this money, she can't come next week. These are the real touching issues that the government, they are failing our people, our health system. You hear too many cries of nurses who are overworked. The doctors don't have some of the necessary tools. We don't have some of the medication in our pharmacy. So persons have to go to private pharmacies when they already can't afford it. They sit down and wait long hours at the hospital. The hospital is not being managed properly. It's not being maintained properly. You're hearing issues of mold and rats, leaking roofs, power outages. How much more can our people take? I understand that this government was new, but they are still learning on the job every day, and we don't see any growth. And their lack of growth is detrimental to our people. And we can't do this anymore. We honestly can't. And so the People's Action Movement have to fight. We have to fight every nook and cranny. We have to go out and save our people. This is a call to our nation. We need to rise up and we need to save our nation because we are in need of help.
Mr. Chairman, are you ready? Are you ready to put on your boxing gloves for the fight?
I'm very much ready. I'm very much ready for the task. And, my job is to make sure that our people are ready to fight.
Yes.
Fight for a cause and a purpose that they believe in. As the political leader indicated regarding crime, I might not necessarily be the biggest fan of social programs. But what I do know is that when you have curtailed the social safety net, there is a very sharp likelihood that these persons who do not have means of meeting their regular and everyday means are going to get into trouble with small petty crimes. I go to Sadler's. I see some young men just standing on the side of the road, just doing nothing. And it hurts my heart. Because I know they probably want to find an alternative. But there's no alternative. The government has criminalized the peace program. They've criminalized the peace program. And they have not come with an alternative. What is the alternative to the peace program that had a far-reaching implication? The peace program was not only about giving out money. It was far beyond that. It was having counseling for these young men who were struggling in their lives, emotional struggles. Mm-hmm. It was about training and development for these persons. It was a comprehensive program that the government has now abandoned. And now they've abandoned, we're now seeing the fallout of their lack of judgment. This government is on watch, it's on notice. We cannot afford to any longer play with the future of our people. They keep on talking about how much experts they are. But these experts have not delivered. And because of their lack of compassion, we see people are faltering by the wayside. We need to have a more comprehensive approach to policing.
Yes.
And the crime situation is not only about policing. Policing is on the last end. Mm-hmm. There's an end. There is a process before you get to the police. We need to have a better social safety net and program that spans the system of moving a young man who has no job to a young man who becomes skilled, to a young man who is proud of his skill and now becomes a working and productive entity into our society. If that is not done, we are going to be in a serious predicament. And because this government has struggled significantly with the economic agenda, we are now seeing the fallout in crime, healthcare, schooling for the teachers. We are in a crisis mode. There is a leadership crisis that is growing in this country. And I know, along with my party leader, that we are going to do our best to prepare the People's Action Movement to answer that call for leadership.
And just to say, I'm putting the Prime Minister, Dr. Drew, on notice. The People's Action Movement is ready to sit at the table. We offered our help before. We are offering it again. Too many of our youths are dying. Too many of our young people are slipping by the wayside. You don't have all the answers. Take our offer. We are putting it out there again. If I need to document it, I will, because the People's Action Movement, along with other NGOs, ought to be a part of the solution. Don't think that you have all the answers, because clearly from what is happening in our country, there is need for help, and the People's Action Movement is here to help.
Well, thank you. You know, I can feel the passion oozing out of both of you from those last two responses, and I know it comes from a place of care. At the convention on Sunday, of course, our political leader made the plea that for and on behalf of single parent mothers, and one sense that it was genuine because, you know, obviously she says she being a single parent mother some years ago, she understands the pain. And so the good thing about leadership is when you've been there, and so you could share with people because you share it from a place of knowledge. And so here you have a political leader who can speak from a place of knowledge, because it's like been there, done that, and all of the things, all of the experience she has gathered from those days can now be shared with young mothers. And I know that young mothers and single parent mothers are high on her agenda. And obviously women are the dominant force in politics in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so if she can say that you have a champion in her, I think that all of us as women, single parent, divorced women, whatever women, we now need to throw our support, our fulsome support behind our political leader and rally with her for change. I think change is going to come, but for that to happen, we first need to put up our hand and say, you have my support, Madam Political Leader. So we have to wrap up now, and hour goes by so very quickly. We are beginning to get requests to extend the discussion to 90 minutes, and we would think about it. But in the meantime, show us you want us to be here for 90. Show us, just drop your support off in an envelope at our secretariat when we're open, and really put your money where your mouth is, so that we can use those donations to make this show a lot more inclusive and maybe prolonged to 90 minutes instead of 60 minutes. So I'm now going to afford you both a minute to wrap up. Obviously, you're going to have to come back here many times within the year. People are going to expect you to come back to check off the stuff that you've been able to accomplish. That's Believe true. You me, our people are taking notes as they're listening.
Accountability.
So you're going to come back in 3 months or in 3 weeks?
As long as the people want me to come back, I'll be here.
So I'm going to allow you a minute to wrap, and then I'll allow our political leader a minute to wrap up as well.
Well, thank you very much, Laverne. And thank you for providing me with the opportunity to discuss PAM's new vision and our path forward. As we navigate the future, our unwavering focus remains on fostering genuine engagement, accountability, and inclusive growth. Our new vision goes beyond mere policy. It's about rebuilding the strengths of our organization. It's about strengthening the bond between the people of St. Kitts and Nevis and the People's Action Movement. We acknowledge the mistakes of the past. And with that acknowledgement comes a renewed sense of commitment to transparency and to take action that truly benefits our communities. On purpose is not solely to govern, but it's also to listen, adapt, and respond to the evolving needs of our citizens proactively and not simply being reactive. Although there will be times when we'll be called upon to respond, we will do so expeditiously and we will do so in a thoughtful manner. We will work on creating a safety net and a safer St. Kitts and Nevis. Moving forward, our goal is to establish a government that genuinely represents the voice and the aspirations of every individual in our nation. With your continued support and active participation throughout St. Kitts and Nevis, we will construct a future foundation of trust, fairness, and opportunities to all. This movement of transformation and renewal will serve as our foundation. Together, we can and create a more inclusive and dynamic St. Kitts and Nevis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Political Leader, your parting shots.
Well, Laverne, as I sat here tonight, I gathered some renewed energy. I feel more energy to just fight on behalf of our people. And so as we continue to welcome home those who have left us, I will continue to show persons that the People's Action Movement is not just about talk, we're about action. And so let us look forward to the plans that God has in place for our people. He has a purpose for us as we sit here to fight on your behalf. And rest assured that better days are coming. All the hardships that you are experiencing right now, it's going to be short-lived. Dr. Drew and his administration, they're going to be short-lived. And very soon, you will get a government that you deserve. A government in the sunrise, a government for the people. And so as we join together and we come together as one to make sure that our nation is the best and we stand together and there's a nation, we are a nation where peace abounds, we say thank you. We say thank you for your help, thank you for your support, and thank you just for being there to help us fulfill God's purpose.
Thank you. Another prophetic piece right there. Thank you, Madam Political Leader. And thank you, too, for viewing this evening. We hope that you begin to get excited, as we are obviously tonight getting excited. We are really ready to make a difference, but we can't do it without you. And so we need your financial support. We need your prayers. We need your just maybe a tap on the back, whatever it is, whatever you have to support us with for now, we are open to it. We want to thank you so much for viewing. Join us again next Thursday. But in the interim, if you wish to contribute to the show, we're asking you to make your donations payable to Perspectives or to PAM Perspectives, and you can drop off whatever it is you have, whether it's a check, a coin, $1, whatever it is, in an envelope marked Perspective, so that we can come to you and bring you the information that you want to hear about your party. As my colleague said tonight, we are putting the action back into People's Action Movement. Thank you so much for viewing, and we'll see you again next week, God's willing. Have a good night, everybody.
We love to serve our country that God has blessed so well. In peace and love and happiness, we will forever dwell. We ask for God's protection and guidance on our way. The People's Action Movement will strive from day to day. The People's Action Movement is here.